welcome to the Gastric Health Show. My name is Dawn Boxall, and we are back for another week of our show, and we are discussing bloating again. We're going to dig into today's topic of why the FODMAP am I bloated? And many of you have maybe never heard of FODMAPs, but that's where we're going to go so that you have a little bit better understanding and know some solutions that you could potentially apply. FODMAPs are just naturally occurring sugars and fibers that are malabsorbed in the small intestines. So what does that really mean? Really, it is just even healthy foods that you eat regularly, that the fibers or starches that are naturally in these foods, they kind of ferment in your small intestines, making it super uncomfortable and creating lots of symptoms and problems. So really, FODMAPs just kind of stands for, it's just the acronym for fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols. And those are the types of starches or sugars that are in foods naturally that we really think nothing of. And essentially, they can kind of create this uncomfortableness that you really do struggle with bloating. So not everybody is going to be reacting to FODMAPs. We all experience bloating at some level during our lifetime. It is the continuous or that chronic bloating that becomes worrisome or really kind of troublesome because you're dealing with it on a daily basis. Why am I struggling so much with feeling so bad? Now, each of these different fibers kind of translate into different types of food. So you can think of wheat, barley, rye, so anything made with those. So think of crackers, think of pancakes, think of anything that have those ingredients in it. It can even be medications that have wheat in them. So keep that in mind. Apples, pears, mango, watermelon. Again, all of those are higher in these different fermentable starches. Onions and garlic are really big. They're fructans, and they are really difficult to digest for somebody who has an intolerance to FODMAP foods. Honey, milk, asparagus, beans, cashews, sugar-free gum, even because of the different sugar alcohols that are in it, cauliflower, mint, and cabbage. Those are some of the top ones. Maybe the reason is you have an intolerance or you have some other thing that's contributing to this intolerance of these FODMAPs that are causing the problems. What would someone experience? Typically, you're going to have the bloating, you're going to have gas, abdominal pain, could be constipation, could be diarrhea, and cramping. So all of those, you might have one, you could have all of them, and you might notice that it's with foods sometimes that you eat. So with a FODMAP diet, that's where it becomes kind of tricky, and you have to really work with somebody that can help you, kind of guide you, because it's not about just eliminating all these foods and never having them again. No, the goal is that you pull these foods out for a period of time, and then you give your gut a time to heal, and then you can start reintroducing them very systematically. And you pick out very specific ones. So it's very dependent on the person and where you go to start and then where you move next. So, but you remove those foods for a short period of time. We're talking 2 to 6 weeks. And then we start playing with the reintroduction of those foods so that you can get a wide variety of foods back into your diet and that you can start tolerating some of these without having the diarrhea or constipation because you ate them. So that's where you have to have somebody that understands that already and who knows that and can guide you and save you a whole lot of time. And the good thing is it can get you back to feeling better so that you're not being bloated all the time or having, constipation or diarrhea frequently. Who do we typically see this in? What type of person would experience this? Somebody who has IBS or irritable bowel syndrome will typically have some level of intolerance to some of these FODMAP foods. SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. This is something that we use quite readily with a SIBO diet and helping you get better. You do react with SIBO. Another group is inflammatory bowel disease or IBD, those type of inflammatory bowel things that can really cause a lot of these same symptoms. So if you are struggling with bloating, you're having that belly distension, you're having that fullness, just that uncomfortable feeling of bloating frequently, and you do recognize that certain foods, those little things can give you clues into why you're having this bloating. So if you are struggling with bloating and you consistently struggle with tolerance of certain foods, you might want to think about FODMAPs as being the reason why.